When the will-o-wisp willows in the wind will whisper back, "Hey, look, it's the McAgee." Good evening, everybody. Happy Saturday to each and every one of you, and welcome to our November 2022 edition of McAgee3 Meetup. I'm your man, McAgee3. I have a very, very, very awesome guest tonight. He is the creator of Iacon Battle Circuit. He is a tournament organizer. He is a connoisseur of fighting games. I would like for you all to meet a really, really awesome person, Lord RodimusPrime. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hey, how you doing out there, man? It's good to see you again. I'm blessed to be here, and the audience, it's good hearing you guys out there. I hope you all have been well.
Sweet, sweet. So as you can see, we are going to be playing a game that we actually have not had on the channel at all. It's gonna be interesting to say the least. We are playing Black Blue Cross Tag. I guess as I'm allowing this intro sequence to go through, because once again, we haven't played this game. Rodimus, tell us a little bit about yourself, my guy.
Well, let me see. Well, I used to be a writer. I come from a huge parade of a lot of games before I even came to the fighting game scene. I used to play the Transformers video games on the PlayStation 3 a lot. With the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron. I used to play a lot of Borderlands, early Call of Duty stuff, like Ghosts and Modern Warfare 2. Then after Transformers died off, I moved into Destiny heavy, Destiny and Rainbow Six Siege, and Xenoverse for a while. Dropped it, and somewhere along the way after Xenoverse's weird escapade with its modding cycle that happened once upon a time, which is long and done now. It's like a whole other era of the video game now. I done since dropped that game and just pick it back up leisurely for fun, just to do the missions. And then I moved into the FGC, so where I started over with Injustice and Fighters. More so Fighters is my main game, where I really invested in it as my first really serious game. What else was there? Like I said, I do writing. I write poetry. I used to be a group tactician for a lot of the clans that I paid for. I used to be the clan tactician, so I wrote a lot of plans and outlines for how they can succeed or win their battles, or win matches and stuff based off of basic friend analysis or teammate analysis, or enemy breakdown on what they're doing, what their habits are. I write those things out for people. I used to even be a team leader and team captain to numerous different teams back on the PlayStation 3 era for Transformers and Destiny. So I can write out and I can build teams for people.
There was a scene for Transformers?
Yes, there was. There was a scene for it on PS3 around the game. The game originally for PlayStation that I'm talking about, it was on War for Cybertron back in 2010. And then it migrated to Fall of Cybertron when Fall of Cybertron released in August of 2012.
I feel like I faintly remember that game.
You may remember Fall of Cybertron was a pretty big game for the PS3 era. For the first couple of years, it was when it was released. It came in at a time after, I want to say after the Michael Bay movies, like because 2007 was when the first Michael Bay movie came out, and that's when. The day or two after the first Michael Bay movie came out of Transformers, that's when the first Transformers game came out of the newer generation, not the Transformers Armada of PlayStation 2. Also a goated video game, by the way.
Oh, okay. Nice. Didn't know that. Huh.
And then each trilogy was basically based around each movie at that time. So you could say there was comfortably like a 1 or 2 year gap between each movie's game release that also correlated to the movie. The first one, Revenge of the Fallen, and then Dark of the Moon. Then War for Cybertron came later at 2010, and then Fall of Cybertron came later at 2012. There was a follow-up game around 2015, 2016, but it did not succeed well. And then there was also a reboot, but a report. They ported the PS3 version of Fall of Cybertron to PlayStation 4, which it lived for a little bit. But the thing is that it was under its old malware file before the DLC was included in the game. So it's basically on its vanilla format. So it didn't last long with characters like a Scout or a Titan that can two-shot people.
Right.
And so people just went back to PlayStation 3, where it was arguably and easily so the more balanced of any of the games. There was a nice scene that happened across there for generations. Because when me and my friends founded the Discord scene, we met a lot of our fellow brethren that also have time honored clans and players that they honor among the games on Xbox and PC, and we just do a lot of compare and contrast of a lot of our scenes and a lot of our clan games that have lived on through the years.
Okay, create room.
Clan battles were the big thing on that thing, or clan wars is what they were called, and then they migrated into becoming clan battles. It's basically just when you get a group of friends or a clan, basically a group of friends, where you have 4v4s, 5v5, and 6v6, and either capture the flag, team deathmatch, headhunter, which is basically kill confirmed if you know your COD, or conquest, where you defend the nodes, which is also another COD-like game mode.
Oh, okay.
You just have a clan, and a clan battle is comprised of 3 of those game modes.
So basically, a lot of the modes that you find in the Transformers games, you also find in Call of Duty.
Yeah, it was basically like the gameplay itself. Think of it like COD meets Armor Core is how the gameplay is designed.
Bro, you just sung my language when you just said Armor Core. Oh my gosh. You played Armor Core, I'm assuming, yes?
Oh yes, I have.
How many of them did you play? We're gonna get to the matches in a second, but hold on. My ears just pricked up. All right, so how many of the Armor Core games have you played?
I've only played a few of them that I was able to rent from Redbox when they had them.
Oh, okay. So which ones were those?
I think.
Also, I think I gotta invite you. I think.
Because I remember when I was at my friend's house, I remember Armor Core 4.
Okay.
Or Armor Core 4 Answer, but I've only seen 4 Answer. I've never played it.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think of the ones that were on PlayStation.
Well, you have one. You have one and all of its expansions. Then I think 2 came out on PS2, and all of its expansions. And then 3 was on PS3 with all of its expansions, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. And then Armor Core 5, I believe I played a little bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the trailer. I watched the trailer and the rest of it on Gamers Playground.
Mm-hmm.
So comfortably speaking, I probably played 2 and 4 and parts of 5.
Okay, so 2, 4, parts of 5. So that means 2. The expansions of that was what was it? Because I played
the Armor Core 2 Another Age.
Yes. Because I've played 2. I've played Another Age. I've played Master of Arena, which I think was the last expansion of the first one. That was my favorite one. But yo, you're a fellow Armor Core dude. You know what that means? That means at some point they need to release an Armor Core game. We just have to play it. Even though because for those that don't know, Armor Core is made by the same people that made Elden Ring. Id Software, not id Software, From Software. Id Software's Doom. And so the thing is, if you're trying to do PvP and Armor Core, you gotta have all the parts, so that way you can customize your mech to whatever playstyle you want. Otherwise, you got to use the standard issue one, and I mean, you can do PvP with standard issue. It's kind of boring though. but dude, that's awesome. All right, so let's see here. So I have a room set up. I set up a password. The password is actually in the chat. I mean, it's 0100. That's what it is. So I actually do not know what to do in terms of. You're gonna have to walk me through it there, Rod. Let's see. But in the meantime, tell me. Normally, I would ask my guests why content creation, but I think I can go a little bit more specific than that. Why be a tournament organizer? What's up with that?
Well, let me see. Being a tournament organizer I wanted to be one to productively seek to give back to the scene, and
Hmm.
the way that it felt did differ the more I delved into what being a tournament organizer really meant. I
Hmm.
knew it would be a lot harder than I thought when I first stepped into these shoes.
Hmm.
And then now, having been in them for a while now, it still feels like it's not totally surreal,
Hmm.
but there's more that I can delve into with this, and it still feels like I'm giving back too much, but it also feels like I'm not giving back enough.
Hmm.
So I
That's a
guess I could say the best way to explain it honestly, the reason I became a TO to just give back or attempt to give back after taking or what felt like taking to try and make something for myself or make a name for myself.
hmm. So I
I can
think
go to that beginning of it if you like.
say that again.
I said if you'd like I can explain at the beginning or where how it all started.
I was actually interested specifically to that. Yes, if you would so kind. Also, we got to figure out how to get into the same lobby so we can actually play.
Oh, hang on, let me go. So what I want to do is I'm going to make a room. So I'm going to do connect network mode
Okay.
in order to go online. I'm going to create a room match. At the same time, you go to room match search.
Room match search. Okay, hold on. Let me disband this one then.
And then I'm going to tell you the room thingy in just a second as soon as
So
I make it.
let's see. You said room match search, so that has to be over here.
Yeah, that's on main menu. So press the triangle button.
Yep. I'm at okay. So room match search.
Go type in the room 1986.
Search. Search for room. Room could not be found. Where do I
Uh,
type it in?
Go down to keyword and then type in 1986.
Okay, keyword. Just 1986. Okay, one
Yeah, I
nine
keep it
eight.
pretty basic. Yeah, I keep it pretty basic across all my platforms.
Gotcha. Ah, there you are.
And for those that are interested, that is a Transformers reference.
Nice.
That is the reference to the original movie.
Oh, the one with
The animated one with Judd Nelson and Leonard Nimoy as Galvatron.
yeah, with that song. Oh my gosh. You got the touch.
What? You
You
got the
got the
power.
power.
Oh, I tell you, that was one of the most famous scenes ever. You hear that song 2 times. You hear that with the passing of Optimus Prime and the rise of Rodimus Prime.
Right, right, right.
I
So
tell
is
you,
it,
Optimus went down like a G.
mm,
Nobody can convince me otherwise.
so is it safe to say that Rodimus, aka Hot Rod, is your favorite Transformer?
You are correct. Not so much Hot Rod, since it's like Rodimus is the more mature version of him that I can understand because you have a massive shadow to try to fill,
Right.
as opposed to Hot Rod. Hot Rod is just like another hot shot. It's just you just happen to have more to your precursor than the hot shot.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's one of my favorite Transformers. As a whole, it would
Mm-hmm.
probably be Springer or Prime's brother, Ultra Magnus.
Oh, okay, okay. Let's see. In terms for me, like I think I'm a basic guy. It's either freaking what is it, Soundwave or Starscream actually. Like
Classic choices. I can't knock it.
yeah, yeah. I really enjoy those two. I feel like a lot of people enjoy daggone Soundwave because he had like what Ravage and what Laserbeak, right?
I love his whole crew of Decepticons. If you in the comics, he actually has more than the main four
Mm-hmm.
that are all compressed in his chest, like an actual disc cassette,
Right.
which I thought is very fascinating.
Right, right. How interesting would it be if because I don't think any of the current Transformers IP has done an updated version of Soundwave at all. Not that I'm aware of. I've seen an updated version of Ravage, but not Soundwave though. Like, would there even be a way to do that this day and age?
Um, I think the closest one they've had outside Transformers Cybertron with
Mm,
with the Unicron trilogy
mm,
was Transformers Cyberverse was the closest one I can remember. If
mm.
you heard of that cartoon, Transformers Cyberverse.
Was that like strictly anime, or was that?
Oh no, that one wasn't an anime. That was a cartoon, but it wasn't from the anime part of Transformers. It was
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
from the American version of it.
Okay, or Canadian, depending.
Yeah. Because Cyberverse I think it's a couple of years old or a few years old.
Hmm.
It's got a weird animation to it, but there's also a lot of references to it from G1 and from Beast Wars.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because
So there's a lot.
Beast Wars is the one I remember.
That's one I would like to see on the mainstream again to see how it could hold in this day and age. Because
Hmm.
if they update the animation style, automatically it can surpass its predecessor.
Right. Oh, I don't know about bring. Nah, see, here's the thing though. Like, bringing back stuff is always very touchy when it comes to just these days. Like, I'm afraid if they were trying to bring back Beast Wars, because it's one of those things where it's like it's either going to be extremely good or it's going to be diabolically bad, and it's just so. Groshi89 with the resubscription. Thank you, buddy. How you been? All right, now I gotta learn how to play. Let's see here. So that's that button. That's that. That's switch. Okay, so this is like light attack heavy. Oh god, you have counters. Okay. Okay. Oh boy. So let's see here. So yeah, like I would be really concerned about trying to do trying to bring back Dagon Beast Wars. I would be terrified because it's like, man, they're gonna screw this up, and I'm gonna be very sad. Good beat up. Okay. Okay. Let's see here. We got RodimusPrime with the follow. Thank you, buddy. As I'm getting kind of beat down here. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Trying to. Ow. Ow, 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 ow. Getting hit. Okay, okay. That stings. Yeah, alright, so that's how we do that one. I'm just gonna switch here. Yeah. Okay. Okay. We're getting. Okay, so that's right. Because in this game, the DPs are done with 2 buttons as opposed to a motion. Oh, that didn't work. Okay.
You want some? You want some?
Yeah, let's see here. Ugh! Whoopsie McDoopsie. Okay. Okay. I got beat up. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
How
So
does the game feel after a while?
it feels pretty good. It feels good. Like I don't feel any like slowdown or anything. You know, it's really just I gotta remember the buttons because everything is like because you have a hodgepodge of characters from different games. They have to make the button layout a way that can be universally, identified.
Universally accommodating. Yeah.
Right. So
changing too much of the character design.
right. So it was like so basically it's just like I had to remember that because I got somebody from Persona, it's not going to be light, strong, whatever, and Persona. It's going to in this game it's light, or I guess what it really is that I do believe it is what light and heavy, but because of the button layout, those moves are going to be different based on what you're pressing. So it's fine.
Yeah.
We should be
They
fine.
changed from light, medium, heavy, so now it's now light, medium, and EX, or occasionally heavy sometimes, depending upon the character.
Right. So, So okay, so yeah, so the main when things got started. So just correct me if I'm mistaken, because I believe earlier on you had made mention on social media that one of the reasons why you started doing tournament organizing and eventually started doing Iacon was because you yourself were trying to improve your set play as a fighting game player. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and then it just kind of shifted from there, or does that still hold true now, or has it shifted since then?
It's shifted some as a balance between the responsibilities to still attempt to strive to be a good player,
Mm-hmm.
but also to uphold my responsibility now as a tournament organizer.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I can't just depend on me. Now there's potentially dozens or hundreds of people that actually depend on me now.
Right. And so now it's way more. Not even that. I mean, it is more important, but also I would assume it's more fulfilling, considering that you're still doing it. Just.
It is. It is. I will say though that I've had my points sometimes, or at those rare instances where it did feel empty, or it did feel hollow, or it didn't feel like there was any return back from it. But I still kept doing it anyways because there's sometimes it's the people,
Mm-hmm.
other times it was just the situation.
Oh, okay.
Key thing was to just try and look at the positive aspect on it, on how this affects the many, as opposed to the few that it did not affect, or that it did not matter to. Objective
Mm-hmm.
is to try not to take it personally, as honestly, knowing me as much as I do sometimes, but I try to look at the good and not focus on the bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I go back to the beginning, as I think about all the roads I've applied in the later years that branch out from the same direction what essentially happened, and I just revisit it in different light studios. Just
Mm-hmm.
going
Yeah.
back to 2019, 2020, I was a lot more active back then. I was originally playing with fighters.
You're right.
I was at the lockdown.
This is a job for
I was just leaving Destiny 2 for my preceding passion. The lockdown just started, so I was more focused on getting back to
Yeah.
Season 3 pass and whatnot with Kefla, because she had just came out also around that time.
Well, that's a good question. Yo, how did the the daggone
Oh, the beginning of the lockdown?
yeah, how did that affect your essentially your tournament creations, content creations and stuff?
It affected it in a good way and a bad way, because it led the opening for me to even get started.
Oh, okay.
That was like the whole point of the lockdown led to me potentially coming to you, essentially. 'Cause I was just fine going through the process of being a competitor and just making content and telling my story through the FGC on what I want to do, because I'd like to have it known that, okay, I do good things, or I do good work. I'm not just your average online player that does what everybody else does. I do try to have a brain sometimes, or if I do monkey around, I monkey with a purpose.
Right.
Is be known, and just be known for what it is that I can do, since I'd like to stand out more so than the other ones, especially for
Right.
the characters I play. I play Goku Black. I play Base Goku. The
Mm.
characters that haven't been meta friendly for a long while, unless you're just a name that's attached to the character, or when you think of the character, you're automatically thinking of these names that are generally associated with them.
Right. No, I thought Base Goku still shows up. Well, then again, tell me, does Base Goku still show up like that, or is it literally just name attached to the character at this point?
At this point, I feel it is name attached to the character. He has a lot. He's a very good anchor and a very good point if you have good assists backing him.
Mm-hmm.
But there are still people that would just rather go for supposedly quote unquote better characters over just playing who you honestly want to play, for fear of succumbing to the meta,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just playing what you want and then let creativity surpass the meta.
Mm-hmm. What's up, Leifon?
Because
Oh,
like when you
go
think
ahead.
of Goku now, you think of Enzim, or you think of maybe Scamby when he's not in a Broly phase, or
if it's Trunks,
Easily.
it's what's his face? Lotus Asakura. Right?
yeah, I was gonna say Sage, but yeah, you can think of Lotus also, because Lotus, like yeah, he's an iconic, not a good one, but he is a very notably iconic one. Is Lotus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I got.
Hell, you say a character, I could probably tell you a character specialist that's played him or has been seen in tournament that is easily an acknowledgeable figure to the character.
Mm-hmm. So who's the big bad Krillin on the block? Tempted to load this game?
That was between, for Krillin, that was between Black Vegeta, Krill Hands,
Mm-hmm.
Scamby offline, and IB Krillin.
Oh, okay. So with your Iacon tournaments, and we're gonna go into a little more detail into that in a little bit. So have you gotten to the point where some of these well-known names have actually participated in your tournaments, or?
Yes, actually. Through the World Tour and through just normal progression, I've actually encountered a lot of unique legends across Dragon Ball and even just other games in general that I've expanded my brand out to.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually had a chance to meet the legends, or at least a few from every fighting game genre almost.
Yeah, because I also have seen through your posts on like Twitter and whatnot that when you're posting about your tournaments, you've been doing I believe I've seen like Call of Duty. I've also seen Mortal Kombat. I think the only one that I have not seen is probably Tekken. That's just me personally, but you're definitely beyond that of Dragon Ball Fighters, that's for sure.
Yeah, I just always come back here to the main game since it's where it all began.
Right. That's actually pretty interesting. That's pretty cool. So, by the way, I was able to switch my team a little bit, so.
Oh, not a problem at all. Let's see. But let me see. But yeah, for fighters, I've hosted Reese. This is back when Reese, like, literally the week Reese debuted.
Mm-hmm.
That week that he wasn't at HOC because Bum didn't have HOC.
Mm-hmm.
My champions convinced him to come to Iacon, and he won Iacon on his first rodeo.
Oh, wow.
He beat one of my upcoming champions that also became a big name in Texas. His name is Blade.
Mm-hmm.
He beat him in a really big turnout at Winners Finals.
Dude, how good does that feel to say this is your champion? Like, this is somebody who essentially got things going from your scene, and then now it's just branching out, right? That's got.
It was really nice. Like, I feel honored that they were able to really take an interest in my scene.
Nice. Ouch.
He's fought here before. Actually, my tournament was also won by a handful of notable Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I know people don't like Texans in the tournament, I do what a lot of other online TOs don't do. I try to give them a chance because I feel like it's only situational, not always universal. There are some people that are from Texas or close to Midwest that have been playing in bums or NOBCs or a lot of other notable places for years, but no one ever brought it up as a concern because connections were never an issue.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, I already know this going into this. I'm willing to take the gamble because I already know how their connections are. Everybody has good days, everybody has bad days. It's not like they're gonna always lag, or there are days where it never lags at all.
Right.
So it's like, hell, I'm willing to take that gamble.
All the damage.
Reese has won it. Arius has won it. The very first champion was an upcoming 17 player who was trying to eventually take on Android 17 Ninja Nerf. His name was Coda. He's a really strong PC player. Arius won it. Maze has won it. Jack-o'-lantern, Blade, multi-time offline champion up in DreamCon in Texas. His name is Ivan Awesome. I didn't even know it was the same dude until one of my mods actually knows the dude personally because he goes to college with him, and so he was in between his classes and whatnot. When he gets on late, he literally goes from college, goes to his dorm, and then he signs on for my Iacons.
Nice. Yeah, that's got to be so freaking awesome. Just being able to put the tournaments together and like people actually just come through. Because for like a while, I always looked at it as like this is a great opportunity for like especially like people who maybe have thought about doing the tournament scene and just never got the opportunity to do so.
It's funny you mentioned that. That is always the flip side to that. Because there are also people that are also, when they join my events, they're also joining their very first tournament sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a that is such a wonderful feeling sometimes. Like every Iacon I have, not even in the genre, there's always one person that is like, this is my first time being in a tournament.
Yeah, and because I always think that's because see, like, funnily enough, the Iacon that I entered in that you threw, that was a long time ago. It was Dragon Ball Fighters. That was the first time I played in a tournament in a very, very long time. So I was like, yeah, and it was great. It was great, man. Like I ran into freaking Kefla's Beauty. Like this wasn't my first meeting against her at the time, but we went at it. She ended up winning, but it was a 2-1. It wasn't like I didn't like bottom out or anything.
Oh damn, you really took it to her.
Yeah. It was 2-1. Like I think it mainly just came down to might have caught her sleeping at first, and then after that it was just her fundamentals were just better than mine. But yeah, dude, like freaking when I interacted with Iacon Battle Circuit at that time, I think the other thing is. You also get the honor of being my very first online tournament. Because I had never done an online tournament before. And it was great, man. Like, it was absolutely fantastic. Like you said, man, like, you just, I feel like because it's an online tournament, I feel like it's less pressure. And I'm also glad that, I did it under your particular brand too, because like it was just fun. I just enjoyed myself. Let me see here. I kind of like this.
Sounds like a W. Weirdly enough, I've actually had that sometimes. I've had that more ever since I started doing Guilty Gear, where it's like people that have never really done online tournaments before, but they've been taking a liking to them or having their variety from their locals when I was doing a lot of the Guilty Gear stuff. It's like, huh.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting.
So
it's so wonderful.
So as a tournament organizer, what are some challenges that you tend to have to face either before or during or even after the tournament that you're doing?
It usually borders around organization, patience, or complacency. It borders around one of those three that seems to be a predominant.
Mm-hmm.
Because punctuality is what I tend to demonstrate myself.
Mm-hmm.
That way, it's then demonstrated by the players. That way, I don't have to worry about people saying, "Oh, I forgot," or "Oh, I was late."
Get ready.
Which there are occasionally a lot of those, but the patience always revolves around. There's always somebody that doesn't check in, or there's people that don't check in. There's people that never go to the Discord, or that don't never find their matches when objective in line 1 of the program is to join the Discord. Which, thanks to Yo in the Blaze Blue scene, I was able to actually kind of lock that shit in, so now you have to join the Discord, so you can't bullshit it now.
Right.
Because for a long time I was trying to figure out how the hell is Neo doing this? It's like you have people locking in and then they just are able to join in, but they're not able to, the only way you can sign up is by joining the Discord. That's what
I remember seeing when this character was introduced, and like, what in the world am I looking at? Yeah. Let's see here. I can see who your mains are, or at least use the character you choose to use. I am going to dance with the mafia.
Fair.
Ow. Who are you?
I will also doubt around it because there's still a few other characters that I'm trying.
I am a tank now.
I see. Doing blitz techniques. I'll go back to the. I thought there was a handful of names that probably made it. The organization. There's also miscommunication between matches or people, where the names never always match up to what it is that's on the bill. So it also leads to miscommunication or error who plays what, or who's joining, who is your opponent, because the names may not always be in Discord.
Right.
At taking care of sometimes where I just if your name's in Discord or you're already in Discord, I kind of just go ahead and just change your name real quick in order to make a note, that way I can label it to what I have here that's listed on the bill.
Have you had your share of players that get kind of uppity because you have to essentially lay down the law because they weren't following instructions?
Very much so. I've had at least one or two from every scene so far. There's always that one person that doesn't take kindly to instruction, but you're not understanding that I run the show, Chief.
Right. Like,
the only reason why you're able to succeed sometimes is because I say so.
So like you
just don't throw that. I just don't throw it at them like that.
Right. So do you have any like any examples of any really gnarly situations where somebody was trying to challenge your authority, so to speak?
Oh, there's a handful of people that do that because they just think that there's other people that do it better. There probably are, but it's not their scene.
Right.
Yeah, a situation that would be a good example would have been Iacon. It was the World Championships last year. I believe it was Iacon 20. It was the one that was Arius's third or fourth championship when he fought Kana in Grand Finals reset. Okay, so at the beginning of that one, so there were players from East Coast and the few from Midwest. I haven't had no trouble with any. You got two dudes from PC that also joined over here that are regulars on and Khalil's thing. Ninja Kiryu, and I'm also verbally blessed with the presence of Hikari. So on that one, it started out originally as a match that was to be on stream. I changed up the brackets since those two had a bracket change that had happened with 2 or 3 people signing up, so I changed the order of the bracket. One of them coming off a PC didn't check his connections. This is a whole thing that stemmed down to process of connections.
Extension. Ouch.
Here I come.
Try not to die. Oh, that didn't work.
See, originally those two were trying to connect together. They had a connections test. It was a hidden Chikasu, and it was Ninja Kiryu. Because those two, Ninja Kiryu and a couple other dudes that came from the Midwest, they've been at my tournament dozens of times before. I've had no issues with them.
Right. But then
that is because not being able to just do connections test with the other dude that check his connections.
Oh wow.
He just came in and assumed when I came on early that day just to be on the safe side, because that was the one thing I was a stickler about back at that time. I still am to this day. I just leave the lobby open when I'm doing my setup, so that way people that want to do connections tests can do connections tests.
Still didn't hit. It's fine. Whoopsie doodle. Yeah, man.
Originally, I just did a base connections test in order to see how those two connections went. They did fine. They went on ahead and did their match. Then 5 minutes later, when I'm in the middle, well, not even that, 10 minutes later, when I'm in the middle of doing my match,
You really
or
chose
call
the
it
wrong
my
opponents.
match,
But I guess you did fine.
I was bombarded by him bursting into the chat saying, bro, this dude's connections is garbage. Why is he playing in this tournament and all this blah 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 blah. And then you invite Maze, and then Maze invites Hikari, and then Hikari invites Complex, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
Oh boy. So they decided they wanted to go just full on.
It's a bunch of PC dudes coming in here trying to tell me what the hell to do.
Right.
I'm just like, I'm not trying to hear this shit now.
Yeah, like, that has to be a pain in the butt. By the way, you have a question from Leifon in the chat room. He asks,
Slowed down a lot of productions.
he's asking, would you ever do multiverses for an Iacon tournament?
I had considered it. I've been trying to take note from watching Bum for the 2 or 3 City of Mayhem multiverses he did, but I backed out of the idea watching the results of the last one and the incompletion factor, because of there not being a constant update to the premise of an online presence for that video game. Offline, it looks like it can do very well. Online, it struggles in holding lobbies, and it struggles in trying to have an Overwatch factor where you're not the game Overwatch, but an overlooking factor, overseeing program.
Yeah, we can spectate, kind of like you can in Fighters, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it has an issue doing that. Where it's like it has to be a specific order where you invite people. It can't just, you have to invite people, including the host, in order to be the last one there to spectate. It can't just be the host and then you invite people. I don't like the order of that.
Right.
Lobbies aren't always justifiably stable when the host is present. I also don't like that.
Right.
I feel that the online presence needs to be tweaked a little bit in order to have an appropriate sitting. Like if it was just 1 or 2 things, I'm willing to risk the headache and gamble it to see at least one Iacon that have happened for that game. Because I feel like it has a nice potential to it. If it wasn't that, I probably would have also considered a Nick All Stars Iacon just to have one.
Oh boy. Well, I mean, I guess if Nick All Stars actually had a spectator function that's actually better than multiverses, then yeah, I could definitely see how you would probably try to utilize that first, even though arguably multiverses is the better game. But
right.
But yeah, but I guess it really just comes down to like the accessibility of those types of functions, which really kind of makes or breaks if it makes the cut for an Iacon or if it doesn't.
Yeah, because if others have done it before, I try to watch how they do it so I have an idea on how to design my template, how to design how many matches that I want to have. Do I want to have 2 be the lucky number or 3, depending upon the speed or the pacing of the matches, how fast characters take damage, if there's tick damage. I try to gauge all these things whether or not it works, because if you how you do first to 2s or first to 3s gauge the length and longevity of the entire process and how long you'll have viewers that will be engaged or players that will commit to the program.
Right. So yeah, because the viewership is also a big deal too. So since you brought that up, let me ask you this: so of the Iacons that you've done up until this point, I know you've done Fighters, you've done Mortal Kombat, you've done BlazBlue, I'm sure. Of course, you've done Call of Duty. So, in terms of the games that you have done so far, which ones tend to have more viewership on average?
Okay. Well, to be fair, the big ones from COD and Mortal Kombat and the one of my Injustice programs, but I co-ran it with my team captain whose team I play for with PLS. I ran it with him, and so he used my Twitter and my filters, so that way it would be a base for everybody else there, because everybody out there doesn't use Twitter.
Right.
So when I sent the tweet out there, that's how everybody was able to basically go like big time off. In terms of viewership, I'd say the ones that catch the most viewership.
Well,
probably would be Fighters and Injustice.
Injustice? Really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Injustice is as pathetic as it is to get that going sometimes. It actually brings the viewership because a lot of people are always intrigued on who's going to be making top 8, or if they do make top 8, which one of the head honchos from Injustice or and from the NRS scene could be making an appearance that's going to try and either come for my champion or be a champion.
Oh, okay.
I named them Injustice Lords.
Oh, nice. So are games for like NRS usually pretty good with their with their you know, people who support the game, so to speak, their scene, like their community. There we go, their community. They tend to have better community.
Debatable because it does have some toxic factors to it, but there is a stronger sense of unity.
Oh, okay.
Like those that really want MK and Injustice, they really support that scene. Like Injustice, as old as that is, and it hasn't been featured for a while, people still love that scene. They love that scene.
Ooh, my face. That's it. Ooh. Bag on it, Noel. Oh, that didn't work. A lot of counters. Ugh. Oh, you blocked it. Oh, what I should have done? That. Okay. We're kinda, sorta, we figured out how to do supers. Hooray.
You did?
Yeah.
Again?
Progress. But, okay, so I actually have another question about Iacon. How did...
And then I'll go back to remember. I'm trying to remember how I was answering some of the previous questions. But yeah, go for it.
No, it's fine. How did the name Iacon come about? Where'd that come from?
You're not the first person to ask that. It was it originally started as a tournament by a different name from the Transformers scene that me and one of my old friends, also a former content creator in the Transformers scene. Me and him found this idea as an idea in order to keep the community together and to still continue doing tournament-based activities where you could do. We're trying to launch the idea or the ideology of one-on-ones on a team-based game in a modern-day perspective of that game, like our forefathers on the video game did back in the founding state before the CBL or the Clan Battle League was initiated.
Oh, okay.
Because during that time in the earlier version of the game, it was called the Four Brothers Tournament.
Oh, okay.
So what me and my friend did, his name is called Straxus Prime. He does still have his YouTube channel out. I don't know if it still has the content on it anymore. I don't know where he just deleted the content or some shit. I don't know what that is.
Right.
I still kept all my stuff on there from the old days. But the idea that we had was called the Prime Brothers Tournament.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
It was basically the same layout and all that stuff. All we did was just rebrand the idea of our founding father gamers, and then just continue the idea like 6-7 years later.
Like, I'm surprised the Four Brothers thing wasn't like... I'm surprised you didn't go the route of, like, you know, the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse or something.
That's what I thought it was themed after, because it sounds about right, as random as the name sounds.
Right.
But they just thought about they called it the Four Brothers Tournament because the group was founded by 4 people that made debatably the 4 notable clans that started the clan scene at that point.
Oh, nice.
It was made by a representative of the Strong Arms clan. It was made by a representative of one of the founding clans called Elite Overlords, which then became Elite Legends.
Okay.
It founded by another one that was from the ancient Cybertronian warriors. And it was founded by Straxus's successor, the dude who ran his clan before him, who had the name Dark Mount Strikers
Mhm.
before he rebranded the name and made it Darkmount Destroyers.
Now, these clans, are these FGC clans or are they Call of Duty clans?
These were Transformers clans that went off to be a lot of the clans from the Transformers years. They went off to either be GTA groups,
Mm-hmm.
Destiny clans, Apex clans, Titanfall clans,
Oh wow, Titanfall.
or Rainbow Six Siege groups. Something that didn't differentiate far from the first-person shooter genre.
And all of this, essentially, they all cross paths from Transformers.
Yes, sir.
Wow. I had no idea. No idea whatsoever. Like, I if it's the Transformers game that I think it is, like, I would say it's probably one of the better Transformers games that ever came out. But I would have never imagined that it would actually have that strong of, like, a community. And then that community just kind of metamorphed into something greater. Like, that's very impressive.
Oh man, I tell you, that Transformers community, there was so much camaraderie on that scene. Like, FGC and the first-person shooter genre communities can really take a note from a small game like that held on to such a massive scene when it started, and then a massive community when it ended.
Okay.
Wow.
Just watch, senpai.
Huh.
The people didn't know the media. They knew the game. If they didn't know the game, they know the media. At some point or another, somebody has played that game.
Can't escape from crossing fate. Fight.
It was such a wonderful time. I was blessed to have been a part of that game for damn near a decade. I was there when it started with a lot of the other dudes, and I was there when it ended. I even went live when like the week of when I gave one of the speeches on Reddit with a lot of the other people that were still around. In order to go over a lot of high notes. And it went over a long history of the video game that I can remember from throughout my 8-9 years of activity in the video game. I wasn't active the last year. That was when I decided to try to do something different on PlayStation 4, kind of just have my last competitive match on Transformers at the end of
You want some?
the end of 2019. 2018 is when I had my last actual competitive game. Then after that, I just let the scene competitively and came back for the clan battles.
Ooh.
Try me. I ain't done. I've got this. Go.
You're in air dashes. True.
Nice.
You sure you're ready for this? Try me.
Yeah. Oh.
Weird, Mr. Ruby's side.
I forgot she side switches a lot.
Ruby. Hide. Win.
What else was there? Let's see. With that rest of that scene, with my group of friends, all of it transcended between a group of kids, young adults, and older adults. Because there was like, I told this story once upon a time about where my group came from. Tact evolved through the years. That's also how it became my Discord. My Discord, with the founding members of my Discord alongside me, is all who was left intact.
Oh, okay.
It was a clan, because then it transcended from a clan to a PlayStation community when PlayStation communities was a thing.
Right.
And then that's why I made it an active chat, so everybody and all the TAC players of all the generations can still talk with each other or meet up, play games, and meet up with each other on modern day games that we're playing. Then when they took communities away, I transformed it into being my own private Discord, and I named it Tac City.
Yeah, right. Because I'm part of that Discord, and that's how you get text. So you have more than one. You had more than one Discord though, right? 'Cause, matter of fact,
Yes, I did have a Discord before this. But it wasn't mine, unfortunately. It was a Discord I shared with another person, a kid who I learned my lesson in working with kids that have power needlessly that don't know how to use it.
oh, well, I mean, you gotta learn somehow, right?
Basically, because like me and him have a co-ownership of the Discord, had a co-ownership of the Discord, but the problem is that he still has a master role above my master role. That's that shit that bothered my mods for a while. They kept telling me whenever we do our conferences and whenever it is we're trying to do something, every now and again there's always some shit that we have to go back to him for because it can only be done by the actual overseer, not me.
Right.
And when I'm the most active in here because it's my Discord. But he was also wary for years about giving up power. It's like, dude, you have 5 other Discords. Trust me, you're not gonna miss one.
Well, some people are very controlling.
Very much so, and that's what was really pissing off my mods a lot of the time. It pissed me off a few times too, but I just kept worried. I just kept talking to him about it over time as it went through, and he just kept urging to be more active over just giving me the roles. So eventually, my mods convinced me that it's a good idea, honestly, to just go and make your own Discord. Where you can really be your own boss. That way, you literally have everything under your control as you should have.
Right, and you can also assign the people that you can trust for certain roles if necessary.
Bingo. It's like, you know what? Screw it, let's do it. That's exactly what we did. I went on ahead. One of my mods, she's very, very tech savvy because I, for the life of me, honestly did not know how to make a Discord. She made a Discord and copied the entire template of the original Discord to Tac City, and then just gave me the master's role.
Oh, nice.
It's like, that's literally my role. So when you look at my name and you see Rodimus, the role Rodimus, that's the master's role. Like, damn.
That's why it's good to have people that have your back, that can cover different avenues as you build your brand. Speaking of building your brand, how difficult was it to essentially build Iacon from the ground up? Like, in terms of just, getting it started, getting people interested in it. Like, how difficult was that?
Very difficult. Because there was a lot of people, as time goes on, for the normal gaming mindset, a lot of us don't like change, right? But once you see it take place, then suddenly you're willing to embrace it like a very beautiful bandwagon effect.
Right.
If it goes over right. Because there's always going to be the critic that's just right there with his finger on the button. And there's those that also welcome it willingly. So when I first started the brand on Fighters, it was still a hard sell because there was a lot of people that I sought to help me get this off the ground, so that way it could be another hotspot on PlayStation, because a lot of resources on PlayStation were going to PC or back to offlines gradually, even though it was still in the middle of it was just 2020 when I started Iacon. So it was still the first year of the lockdown.
Right. So
people were more so trying to have the PC transition, and then very subtle offline things. Offlines wouldn't be a thing until once we got into midway of this year is when offline started.
Right.
So as I first started doing that, it mainly started out with just friends. So I wanted to see how many people that were in my following that were interested. Hey, if you guys are interested, I'm going to try and see if I can get a PlayStation card, and I'm going to see if I can make us a tournament or something around the holidays and see how many takers we have. And there was surprisingly a pretty good handful of takers for that. So I went on ahead and launched the idea around the holidays. I reached out to a lot of my past friends and supporters and other people that also became other names in the scene to see if they could help in getting the awareness out for this. I had zero support in trying to get this off the ground.
Jeez.
And I also tried to look to Anti-Venom. We were on better terms. He was a dude whose scene I was going to a lot in order to try to see if I could make top 16, top 8.
Mm-hmm.
He's a. I also got nothing back from him because he's a dude that, in some sense, I feel did owe me for a lot of the very terrible matches and experiences that I've had through his stuff, the Anti-Symbiote series.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to give him the benefit of the doubt because I feel that he's not totally a bad dude. Just
Mm-hmm.
takes advantage of online in order to succeed.
Right.
Which, hey, do what you gotta do. That doesn't mean I have to like it.
Right. That is true. You know, usually when you're both shooting for the same thing, you know, you're technically rivals at that point. So, and then
Right.
the other thing is like, and that kind of goes with content creation as a whole because if you're doing something and someone else is doing the same thing, you're gonna see things that are like, okay, this might be something I might be able to adapt into what I do, and you'll also see things like, I'm gonna make sure I don't do that because I don't feel good about it when it happened to me, you know, that sort of thing.
Bingo. That kind of stuff.
Mind doing a shout out for Rodimus?
Oh, you know of Anti-Venom. Fair enough. He is a known dude around the scene. And him, I just know him well enough. He's one of the dudes that, knowing me, I try to stay away from over the years because me and him have butted heads through DBFZ a lot, both in the good aspect and the bad aspect. As time went along, more so the bad aspect. I attempt to leave it on a good note. I will say that the last time we did encounter, he did have the final laugh, and I gotta hold that, and I'm perfectly fine in holding that. That happened in. That was one of the last NLBCs before NLBC went down. That was NLBC 98 or 99. I met him in the qualifier for top 16. This is my first time that I almost got top 16. It's the only time that I try to let it go, and my friends and my supporters tell me to let it go.
Mm-hmm.
I work on it. It's difficult even now to really let it go because I lost the chance to make top 16 because of Anti-Venom. And because I didn't block something, he chose not to block anything, did something incredibly stupid, and won because of this on match point, last character.
Well, sometimes it's better to be lucky than skilled.
I guess so. And it bothered me so much because he went on to almost win that in grand finals, and I'm just like, dude, I actually could have eliminated this fucker.
Oh man, you are a true competitive spirit, my guy.
If there could have been a real grand finals, but this dude's doing this with the square button.
I mean, with a lot of the contemporary games these days, that tends to be a legitimate strategy. I mean, look at Vegito.
Touche. Touche.
Yeah?
And our orangutan, the SS4.
Yeah?
Hell, how can you light, anti-air, and we're still safe off of this, my guy? Just do it again.
Yeah? Like, yeah, man, like, the stratagem of pressing square 5 times is actually a legit strategy now. So...
Can't knock it. I mean, hell, if the pros are doing it and it works in order to pass mustard, I mean, hey, make it do what it do.
I think you
Just
picked a
be
fight with the wrong
wary
girl.
that light can't always save
Can't
the day.
escape from crossing fate.
You're gonna have to do this random thing that's really weird. It's called blocking.
Blocking is for suckers.
Oh, you ain't wrong. Or we just need to, then we still gotta hold it.
Nice hit. Nice hit.
Oh, I don't have double leg. Yeah. I got him present. Oh god. Oh, I see you trying to be sneaky.
Nice hit.
Okay, that's probably not the correct move.
Oh, but no, we're not hating on Vegito. No, as much as annoying as that character is, I still try to give him props. Like, I can't really talk. I main base Goku, but I also have Vegito, Gogeta Blue as on my team. He's been beat ever since his son, so I can't really say anything.
Right. Small side note, have you ever played Senran Kagura?
I've seen videos on it. It looks like a fun.
Yeah, I played it on the channel. I don't remember which one it was. I play on the channel. It's fun. It's some good brain dead fun. Like you just go in and you just press some buttons. Sometimes it'll throw some stuff at you that can like actually be a bit of a some challenge. I think I'm dead here. Oh, I am extremely dead here.
I thought about trying to see if I could do this game just to see what other characters that were here, because I looked in the files for a potential follow-up game for this video game. Had the creator not walked out of the project, that they were really trying to blow this roster up. Like they were really trying to bring a lot of key names, like bring in the returning names from the 4 founding things here, bring in more characters from the guest things, and then expand the guest roster. They really have a whole game plan for Cross Tag 2 if they really went through with it.
Okay. But you said one of the creators just kind of said, "Nah, I'm done," basically.
The main creator for BlazBlue, yeah, right at the beginning, the week before CEO Taku that just passed, the dude walked out of it. One of the Japanese founders for this thing.
Oh, okay. Well, that's unfortunate.
Because he wrote Calamity Trigger, Central, Chrono Phantasmal. He wrote a lot of the good stuff from the early years that basically led all the way through Ragna's story.
Leifon has a question. He's wondering how do you feel about fighting games having more defensive mechanics?
I feel fighting games having more defensive mechanics is a fine balance depending upon the game genre. There's an appropriate amount of chaos that can warrant more offensive situations than they're worth. Granted, there's some people that would identify these as scramble situations, but sometimes scramble situations can even be calculated because there are times where you don't want to always be in the opponent's face, or if you're in the opponent's face, what is it that you're trying to do here? Because mix, quote unquote, doesn't always have to be abundant. Or so it's how do you react to mix is the appropriate question. And so for some games, having more defensive options, I feel is a good thing. Depends on what game that you're wanting to ask. That would this be a better incorporation or a bad incorporation?
You don't feel that it has the potential of maybe slowing the game down a little too much?
If it's a fast-paced game, it's an appropriate balance to accommodate very fast matches where decision-making happens on a norm.
Right.
So let's give a couple examples. So this game, for instance, BlazBlue, it's a very fast-paced game. It's basically touch the video game.
Yes.
Defensive-based mechanics here, if they added 1 or 2 more defensive-based mechanics, it honestly still wouldn't slow down the pace of the video game. It would still be fairly fast for the most part. It would just allow you more options and better chances to live in some situations where you would probably get killed right away, or a top-tier shell would easily just steamroll you.
Right.
Guilty Gear as an example. Guilty Gear...
Well,
Guilty Gear would be a bad thing in my opinion. Because Guilty Gear, from what it is I've studied, Guilty Gear moves at a fast pace, but the neutral is very, very slow. Like it's like the objective of Guilty Gear is to get a hit, and then once you get a hit, you're in there. Now he's in your face. What are you gonna do? You're aware of your frames. You're aware of this character's options. You're aware of his tools. Are you aware of the universal tools? Are you aware of, okay, is he gonna grab me? If I do get out of this situation, what is he gonna do to try and get back in? Or is he gonna do something unga? Or is he just gonna wait? Or if you have more defensive-based mechanics, let's say. If they incorporated something like what they have, like 3 or 4 different Roman cancels in that game. One of them that's defensive based that does a get off me tool similar to a spark. Then you have 2 or 3 different ones that are offensive based, unless one of them, I'm not mistaken, is universal and you can use it offensively and defensively. That I don't know. If there's any Guilty Gear heads out there, let me know if I did say something erroneously.
I mean, the only thing I can think of in terms of Guilty Gear is just Roman cancel does almost everything now.
Yeah. And then from there, after Roman canceling a lot, or your Roman cancel roots, it just comes down to matchup knowledge. from the but for Guilty Gear, it would be a game where I feel like it would be a bad thing because it would reset neutral more than you're engaging with the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
For something like Fighters, I believe that's more so the route that they took. That does give you more options to apply logically. It doesn't really slow down the poor premise of the gameplay to engage your opponent. Also, potentially set up 2-touch, 3-touch situations,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't speed up the game, but it doesn't slow it down as much.
Mm-hmm.
Slows down the game is just the options of your characters.
Yeah, and the whole thing with Fighters is that it's supposed to be fast because it's supposed to be based off of its source material. So because I always found it interesting during the initial run where people were just complaining about how like, oh, it doesn't have this, it doesn't have that, and I'm just like, well, if it had,
if we cancel that, thank you.
Yeah, like, and I'm just like, if it had this and this, it wouldn't be a Dragon Ball. It wouldn't be Dragon Ball. It wouldn't be Dragon Ball because it's fast paced. Like, if you slow it down even a little bit, like it wouldn't be Dragon Ball anymore. Like, can you imagine if Dragon Ball Fighters played like Street Fighter?
That would be the slowest game ever made. It would just look good.
Right.
Like hell, Guilty Gear Strive almost borderlines doing that for you. Like there are times when it's fast, there are times when it's slow, there are times when that sucker is mad.
That's my face. Okay. Okay.
This is a job for a real man. Get ready. Karina. Come on. You're done. You ready?
Here I come! Go, party!
Karina.
Yep, nice DP. Cool. Oh, I think she has armor off of that. That did not work. That did not work either.
You sure you're ready for this?
Come here, you.
Oh, shit, I forgot that's a grab. That's good shit.
I don't think this kills me though.
Get ready for this.
Ow. Come here, you.
How much can you do? Come on.
But yeah, for fighters it wouldn't mess up the case. For Guilty Gear, I feel it would. Street Fighter, yes, it would just make it needlessly slower than it already is by general design.
Get ready for get him. You can't run.
Oh, that's
Asshole. Get ready. Get ready. You want some?
oh, that's
Get ready. Come on out.
okay.
Come on. Get back in. It sucks. No holding
Nice.
back. Get up.
Oh! Okay, now that was neutral. Oh, that was my cat. I'm sorry. I did not mean to kick my cat. Oh, Sheba, I'm so sorry about that. I am so sorry. I moved my foot and Sheba just happened to be in the vicinity. He's okay.
Gotta finish up this doll.
It wasn't like a big boot or anything. No, kitty. No, Sheba. I love you. Okay, so let's see. So tell me, in regards to you as a tournament organizer, as the creator and founder of Iacon Battle Circuit, are there any areas that you feel could use some improvement?
Yes, because as easy as I make it look, it's actually there are more days than not where it is tedious to keep everything upheld. I just do good on my part to make a fairly convincing front. But one thing that can definitely use a bit more work is team management or the lack thereof in trying to reestablish a team to try to help support the platform or do this and that to keep things running in the background, so I'm not always multitasking. Even though ultimately I am multitasking between the stream, organizing where people go, check in, bracket update.
And so you said you like, so what makes those things like what specifically is it? Like a time issue? Is it just how vast the amount of information you have to like input and process? Like what really adds to the difficulty to those tasks?
The difficulty in all of that is juggling each one's priority as it's called upon. Because at the same time, all of them need to be done more or less around the same time. Because brackets always got to be updated, matches got to be seen to. The matches that's currently in front of me on stream, I also need to systematically call that match. I also need to be aware of people's updates in the background, so that way if it's not going to be a stream match or their bracket's not a stream match, they can literally go on ahead and just play their next opponent.
Right. Wait, I'm just realizing what you're saying. So you don't have like an assistant or somebody who can handle some of that payload, do you?
No, I do not.
Oh, you're just doing it all.
That's one of the things I do ultimately hate about my job. That I do envy someone like Bum or Neo, ultimately Neo, because when he got his start, he had like all the help of Bum basically helping him. And like I was in this for help longer, but I asked, I never got that help. There's very few people that did offer to help. I did bring them in, but they didn't stay. There was always an issue, or there was always the, oh, I forgot, or oh, I didn't realize it was this time, when it's always the same time.
Right.
And so after a while, and it was even a thing during the World Championships, both the first time and even this time, which I didn't even worry about it as much. I leave it open still, so if people want to help, the opportunity is there. If you don't know how to run brackets, let me know. I can literally teach you. Sometimes where I even teach people on the fly how to do these things. I had no problem holding your hand while I'm literally sitting there calling the matches or however it is. Because I'm going to get ready to click the button anyways in order to update the bracket. I can literally show you how it's done on your end. All it is just having a laptop or PC or whatever have you. Have the bracket open in front of you. I give you my administration role. That way you can oversee each match as it comes in. Just type 2-0 or 3-0, save, bracket updates, and you rinse and repeat. That's literally all it is.
And do you utilize Smash.gg for a lot of this, or?
Yes, I do. I don't believe Gorilla is a really strong platform as of late. It's something that's very new, but it's also something that's very buggy. So I tried 1 or 2 Guilty Gear tournaments to try it out, just to see what the platform is like. I can't say that I really see that whole other program that's to take Smash's place lasting for that long.
Right.
I see why to give it a chance, but I don't have any faith in it succeeding.
Get ready.
Challenge, I think, is the best long term in terms of like beginner friendly TO work. That's the best one to start into. And if you want to step up into like a more, start isn't complicated, but it allows you to do so much more to make an identity for your brand or your platform than Challenge. Challenge is like when you get started, come here. Start is when you get going and you want to go farther, come here, come to us.
Even wintry skies known such a wondrous snow.
It can also be beginner friendly. It's just not as beginner friendly as Challenge.
Can't escape from crossing fate. Fight.
Well, I'll be honest. I didn't realize there was more than one. I figured there was just one.
A lot of people when Start had the brand rename, a lot of people took the opportunity to not really invest as much into Start GG as much anymore and tried to see if they could do their own thing.
Are you sweating? Counter.
The only thing I remember about this character is that she's stupid.
Are you sweating?
I'm gonna use
Somehow the tier list has always put her down on the list.
There's probably gaps in her attacks that are pretty easy to read. That would be my guess.
This might be hard.
It's the best thing I can think of.
Oh, that didn't work.
Stand aside.
Fine, we're getting beat up. It's okay. Ouch, just a flesh wound.
That's nothing.
Good.
Not bad.
How dare you use Weiss against me?
Can you take the piercing tide?
Okay, that didn't work.
That will not also be my dance.
Yeah, once I learned how to do supers, I was like, hey, I can play now. So, okay. So, do you have, I ask you, do you have
Elegant,
any big
intense,
projects
and
in the
graceful,
pipeline
commanding.
for us to look forward to
How
from
impressive.
Iacon Battle Circuit?
It felt as if we were dancing among a blizzard of cherry blossoms.
Yes, there's a couple that I have on
Every bit as
the,
much
that I have
fun
on
as
the
you did.
horizon. I don't know if I'm gonna
Care to
get
join me
them
for another
this
dance?
year, but I'm gonna try and see which ones I can still keep trying to push out just to see how many takers there are, because I want to still keep giving back to PlayStation to make sure that PlayStation scenes have something to work with.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things. As much as I feel like the job is thankless a lot of the time, that's the one thing that I'm trying to be thankful for, is that I actually have a chance to really create something that can give something to a lot of people that they never thought was that was existing before now.
Mm-hmm.
Because PSN loses as time goes on and the games evolve, PSN and online are beginning to lose a lot more to PC and offlines via the opportunity to be more involved with these games if there's no scene that's correlating to them or that's steadily available.
Right. Yeah, because usually normally on average, PC tends to be like the superior platform just by performance alone, right?
It seems to be the case. Like, by performance, yes. Consistency, it's about even.
Mm-hmm.
Longevity, you could probably give it to PC over console. Consoles evolve. PC, you can replace parts and you can still have the same existing one for a good while.
Mm.
There's give and take that you can have in the converse of the PC versus console wars. I've had plenty of beautiful exchanges with other TOs and even some competitors that have joined the joined the master race, and that's fine. But
So,
I will
question.
still be here for a reason.
Go ahead. Next question. Because I've also seen in some of your social media stuff that you've also done commentary.
That I do.
So I trust you've done commentary in Iacon. I've actually sat in on some of them, and you definitely do. Have you done commentary for other tournaments by chance?
And for other people, I've done them for Injustice, I've done them for DNF, and I've done them for Multiverses.
Okay. So what would you say is, like, if someone were to try to be doing commentary, like, what's like an aspect that would benefit a would-be commentator greatly, if that's what they're trying to do?
What would benefit an upcoming commentator is how to play off of how to read the energy in the room, how to be creative with your observation. If you don't know what's going on, think of commonplace scenarios and then try to poke fun at it. And try to get a feel for the audience. If you know the game, get a feel for the audience. That way you have an idea on what the audience is looking for when you're looking at games. Try and think about how things that were happening in the game that were happening in the usual game were. And most of all, be patient with the audience on what they may or may not want. That's about it. That's best advice I can give. And most of all, have fun. The main thing about it is to always try to have fun while you're doing it.
Right. Like, so have you done, look, when you're doing the commentary, have you like been like by yourself doing it, or did you like have somebody with you? Cause
for my stuff or when I'm with other people?
When you're with other people.
Oh, there's other people that usually help along with these things whenever I'm with other people.
もう迷わない光が見えるはっ我が剣ですよ
Oh, you and your confirms.
It's like one or two other people that usually are always there.
Oh, I missed. Okay. The hit's kind of high. This one.
The Muppet hands.
Uh-oh. Hot mine. Come here. Come here.
Nice.
I tried to reach out to you, and there was just this big portal. I was like, I don't think this is gonna end well.
I tell you, Merkava and the Muppet hands. He just goes swinging for the winds like,
It's like, what does this one do? Oh, that was so funny. Oh, that was so funny. Oh man, it's really cool. It's really cool playing this game a little bit more than when I did when I was at Xanadu. Let's see.
It's a good batch of controlled chaos, and there's so much depth with each of the shells. It's just very fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
I can't, like, me personally, like, being new to the game, I can't say that I see a bad character here on the roster. Everyone has their own bit of nuttiness that works in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. And most importantly, if you're going into commentating, be yourself. Don't try to be something that you're not. Being yourself works because that's how you get comfortable with yourself and comfortable with the situation.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to read the room and read the atmosphere, and watch the match and figure out how to appropriately commentate on it when trying to just do this how you would do this, not trying to be in somebody else's shadow.
Yeah, trying to be like a variation of Yipes or something.
Exactly. Yeah, just be you, and trust me, that'll be a lot more entertaining and more comforting, and eventually you'll fall into a funny groove.
Mm-hmm. Have you done commentary in an actual like people tournament, like not online, but just like, you know, you're in the same room as everybody?
I have not had the chance to.
Oh, okay.
I'm looking forward to it when I can.
Well, depending on how close or how far you are from Maryland, D.C., and Virginia, when MagFest comes around, like, you could probably do it there, because they have video game servers there all the time.
Okay.
Just thought I'd throw that little tidbit out for you.
Sure. See if I'm able to do. See if I'm able to go.
Mm-hmm.
Let me taste that soul of yours.
Let me think what else was there. I know for new projects, I'm working on one now, because when I came back from my hiatus from doing Iacon, I decided I'm going to start up a scene for Melting Blood on PlayStation, Melting Blood type Lunatic. So I already had one Iacon for it. I'm going to have another one at the end of the month after Thanksgiving passes. Main premise of it is it's a 4-program event that I'm hosting. I'm spreading these out. That way I can see how many takers that the game actually has as a whole.
Better than I thought.
I noticed it bothered me for a while that after Evo, this game has takers for this game, but they're all constantly on PC. And that bothered me for a while. And then the more that my team opened up chat, opened up our Discord for more FGC scenes, the more I noticed that there are people that occasionally play this game, but they don't have a scene. So I decided, you know what, I need to see how many people that there are. I'm going to give it a chance. See how many people that would be interested in programming for this. I'll give it 4 programs. See if it does good. If it doesn't do good, it's all good. If it does,
Please don't hit me. I remember that movie. Oh, that didn't work. Went through the projectile. Hands?
yeah, I have the Melty Blood ones that are currently out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do one DNF Iacon.
Okay.
I know that's one game that I was very, very hopeful for, and I was very disappointed with the direction that game's longevity has taken early on in its lifespan.
Yeah, I've heard that that DNF Duel, like, it just, as soon as it finally got released, it just flopped. Like,
it was doing good its first week, and then it's just like the patchwork didn't do anything for it, and little by little, Swiftmaster just kept holding this thing. It's like you got it. They've done nothing to really shape the parameters of the sandbox.
Mm-hmm.
The last patch that came out is not even a patch. It's literally just a small note. It's like a tidbit. It's a note. It's a patch note saying, "Hey, there's another patch note coming." That's basically what it was.
Mm.
And so, some people, when I was over on Injustice, they were wondering if I was going to do one for it, just like when they were asking if I was going to do the multiverses or if I was going to do a Mortal Kombat one.
Mm-hmm.
I had a layout for one. I had a layout for Mortal Kombat, but then if the takers are finicky or just as finicky as the dudes I'm already dealing with for Injustice that I already have my headaches with just making those scenes work, I'd be better off just doing another Injustice focused month rather than trying to give one to Mortal Kombat.
Right. So what determines, like, what game you do for an Iacon tournament? Like, is it... I guess actually, there's a question stacked onto that question. How often do you hold your tournaments each month? And then going back to the question I just asked, like, what determines what game will be taking center stage?
It depends on the popularity of the game.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on if I have it, how easily accessible is it? How regular are current activities with the game happening? Because if it's something that's booming all the time, or at least every other week, then okay, there is an attempt at a scene or a scene here.
Mm-hmm.
See what times do these events go off? Because there may be a timing issue, so the players that are playing these things either can or can't always be here to these sittings.
Mm-hmm.
Most times there's some events that seem interesting, but they only happen during weekdays, which I can't do. I can only be a weekend person, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, understandable. Because most of us actually work, we actually are blue-collar 9-to-5ers, right?
Yeah. As I got older, I got to merge the working me along with the gaming me.
Mm-hmm. So is it once a week, or?
These are... Generally, they were originally once a month or 2 times a month, and then when the first World Tour came about, then that's when I started doing them weekly in order to keep up with the World Tour and how MDZ and Jake Ryan had outlined it for me to try and do these things online in order to meet the template for how many people or players that were going to potentially be playing in online tournaments, both either console or PC. Try to advertise as much as possible. That way, for the points to mirror accordingly, you want to try to have at minimum 20-man brackets.
Right.
Which, given if it was for Dragon Ball, that window once 1 or 2 of the pro players or the higher ups join my tournaments, that's literally a flood for others to come in here because they either want to try and see if they can throw the smoke with them, or they're gonna throw the smoke with other people that are in the World Tour bracket.
Yeah, because the World Tour can affect your turnout.
Correct.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
It works.
there's really a whole lot of stuff that goes into that sort of thing that you're doing. Just
A lot of the stuff I'm finding out as I go through from time to time, so I just try and I try to work through the layering as best as I can
mhm,
to get an idea of how to navigate. I'm not always gonna get it right, but I try to just work through it.
mhm. Like
I get it, and I like it.
so in regards to the other TOs that you come into contact with, do you still like keep in touch with them for like any type of insight or maybe a heads up on things, or is a lot of the
There's
stuff that you're picking up on literally just, yo, I'm just gonna throw my head here, and wherever my head lands, that's what we're gonna take in.
I do try to seek occasional counsel from other TOs from time to time to get an idea of some things.
Careful. If
A
you
lot
step
of
into
them
my
don't
range, who knows
can't
what
offer
could
too
happen.
much advice because they don't
Can't escape from
PlayStation
crossing
focused stuff.
fate.
Like it's occasionally hypocritical, but they don't offer advice because they're mainly PC focused, and so they end up in a lot of different situations than what it is that I'm in. I still try to seek advice in order to have an idea on what I can do. All they can do sometimes is just give me an idea based off of the scene.
Mhm. Oh, you say that to everybody. Ooh, ooh. Time to go. That doesn't work.
You want some?
Oh.
Come on! What the?
Where are you?
You're done.
Come here, you.
Gotcha. Come. Crush him to dust.
One or two of them I lost touch with as time went on, unfortunately. Like I take the time to try and stay in contact with them, but he just didn't want to return the favor. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
hey, that's just life. I try not to take it personally. I just wish that he would tell me why.
Right.
Good try.
Others, I just make it up as I kind of just make it up as I go along based off of what they told me. If they know the same people,
Mhm. Oh, that's how I do that. Okay.
Try it. Come on.
Far from done. Good try. One blade secret art.
You're not dead.
Got you. Hands up.
We have the same idea. And now I'm dead. Jeez. Great minds think alike. Oy vey.
indeed.
Mine. Hide. Lin.
So what I
Oh.
have done, really enough, as long as I've been doing this, they're the occasional TOs, even if they don't last long in the scene.
Shouldn't have
It's
underestimated
weird,
you
but
just
some of them
because you're a
they
girl.
they try to seek me out.
I won't tell you to
Oh,
stay
really?
back anymore.
Just
Let's
get an
fight
idea about
together.
like how to navigate waters sometimes in
I look forward to working
like
with you.
in the online realms, or like what do you
That
want to be
wasn't really
doing,
what I was getting at
or
earlier,
how do I
but-
make this scene work, or can you explain to me like how what does the audience look for in this scene, or would it be appropriate to try and work on this day or that or this or that. And it's interesting that there's some people that do take the time to try and approach me with these things sometimes.
What's up, Blue Jay? How are you? Blue Jay 888. Greetings.
Hey
greetings,
Blue Jay, what's going on?
greetings. Yes, freaking we got Rodimus here sharing his knowledge and his experiences as a tournament organizer, and just from the little bit that we've discussed so far, there is a lot that goes into organizing a tournament besides just inviting some folk and having some type of prize at the end of the road, so to speak. And it's very interesting. I think it's very interesting. I believe it's very interesting because when it comes to these sorts of things, if I can't do it or I haven't done it often, I'm gonna find it interesting because it's a lot. Because the biggest thing is that when it comes to TOs, like me as a player who've played in tournaments in the past, I hear TO, and I literally just think of a person that you report to when you finish a match, and they jot it down, and that's it, right? That's what I think of. But talking to Rod here, like, there's so much more to it than just that. Especially since, especially if you're someone who has to essentially do all the heavy lifting yourself. Like, it is absolutely insane to me. And it's cool, dude. Like, and I tip my hat to you for going this road and seeing it through and thriving, and just making progress as you go.
I appreciate it. Just trying to keep it interesting. I always love seeing a lot of the unity in so many different communities. I love seeing the camaraderie between different players, the rivalry sometimes, the beef.
Mm-hmm.
Turnout is always different. Every icon, there's still going to be like the same 2-3 people that show up, but there's always going to be a new face. There's always a new face every single time, and it may or may not be their first time, and it's always fascinating.
Right. And then, of course, like we were talking about earlier, it's always cool when you have those few that show up for your brand of tournament, and then they do really well, and then they go to other tournaments and they do really well, and then you can throw out that, yeah, that's one of my champions that did really well at that tournament. Like, that's a really awesome feeling,
Yeah.
Are we both using Scythe Guy? We are both using Scythe Guy.
We are both using Gordo.
Goody.
Escape from crossing fate.
Interestingly, the idea for making a prize for my thing here, I'm so far the only one that's done that. Because I have Matcherino in the background, but I don't make it a priority. Money is always a struggle thing, so I always try to think of be something that can't be easily accessible all the time, but doesn't always have to revolve around fiscal needs. That's always the hard
Nice throw. Dead? Like, well, I would have been dead. Okay.
I decided, so the more I kept doing these things, the more I realized that money would be an issue. What I tried to do is invest in a way for the champions to be seen, so I invested in doing a lot more of my artistic craft.
Yeah, so the banners that I've seen you post on like Twitter and whatnot, like, did you make those?
Yes. All these I custom make for the winners.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It takes time to make them, so I try to put that's where the other part of the love goes into. Because I want, if I can't pay you all the time, I try to the extra mile to give you something for your profile or something for your media that has you stand out more than the person next to you. Right. You have a better chance of being seen, you have a better chance of being noticed, loved, respected, and appreciated.
So what about the like, because when you post on your social media those that the top 8s of the tournaments that you've had, I noticed when you put up their name, you also put like the character that they were using, but it's always like a custom artwork of whoever those characters are. So I'm gonna ask anyway. So did you do those custom works, or did you just kind of search those up?
Some of them I searched up, others I did make. A lot of those I have to, if they're not able to be scaled to 500 by 500 to fit the thing, right. I do have to sit there and personally edit it that way it does fit. Right. Because to be honest, that's a really nice touch where you have your top 8 finalists, and not only does it give the name of the person, but it also has a portrait
of the character that they specialize with in whatever game it is that they're playing. You know, that's really cool. Like, this person is a Krillin main. This person is an Android 18 main. You know, this person is a Sub-Zero main. You know, and like, and it's not just. I mean, you could have very easily have just grabbed the portrait art from the respective game itself and just called it a day. But no, you actually, like, if you have three people in top 8, and like 3 of them are using the same character, you have a different portrait for each of them.
Correct.
And that's a really good, like, attention to detail there. Like, that's very cool. Like, it's really awesome that you go that extra mile to do something that, you know, for most people will probably take it for granted, but like, that's actually really cool. It makes it more personalized for the person who actually, you know, made that achievement.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. I take the time to really try and make those sing. So when top 8 goes out there, I think, wait a minute, if I was in this person's shoes, and that's what I always try to do a lot of the times when I do my work, is I put myself in my players' shoes. If I do make top 8, I know I want to stand out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I want the artwork to look nice, clean, and have my name tagged to it, and we're Gucci.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm thinking, yeah, let's see if we can find a good portrait here. Since we got 2 or 3 of them here, let me see if I can try and find one that's just as edgy or just as detailed, but a different animation of them doing something.
Mm-hmm. Now, your profile picture that I'm using that's on screen right now. So the Goku Black, did you actually hand draw that, or did you have to look that one up?
Yes, I did. I hand drew that one.
Oh, okay, awesome. That's very awesome. And the Autobot insignia.
One I looked up, and then I had changed the saturation for it from blue to a very dark red, and cut it out around the edges, and then did it to 600 by 600 areas.
Yep.
And I was able to fit that as a good thing here.
Oh yeah.
The one I originally had, I didn't like it, so I went ahead and just did it myself, because I was gonna look up someone to see if they could do it for me, like what they did for my my TikTok and my Instagram artwork for my pictures. But I was like, actually, you know what? If I can actually do this one myself.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that looks really good, man. Like, I have mad respect for those that create their own profile pics. Not throwing shade at people that don't, because I know not everybody's an artist, but there's always going to be a special place in my heart for those who actually just put put something together from the ground up. Even if it's just taking an existing something and just touching it up a bit, you know. So.
And weirdly enough, all those top 8s that I sent out, a lot of the people that were making the top 8s for Guilty Gear, a lot of the unique ones were people making their very first top 8s, and they kept those pictures. That really meant a lot to me.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
There was even one time, oh my god, I'll never forget this day. Flair brings it to my attention. It was when Flair, he was one of my stronger Iacon champions. This is when he won his 5th Guilty Gear Iacon championship. Beat another one of the Iacon champions to do it.
Oh, nice.
I sent that tweet out of him being a 5-time winner. Then out of nowhere, that tweet went from having like no views to being one of the most viewed tweets that was damn near trending in Guilty Gear media, because 2 people tweeted this out. This was 2 Japanese players. One was Gago, and the other one was Mishu, that had retweeted my shit. And I was like, "Are you freaking serious?" They found my work. And the other dudes from the Dragon Ball thing was like, dude, how did that tweet blow up so much? That's like unnecessarily more than any other ones that they usually get. Because usually it's like maybe like a couple thousand of views. This is 35,000 people that viewed this for 24 hours. Like, how? That was how. Well, that's why he was wondering. Wait, is it the same Gago? It's like we look up the profile picture. It's in Japanese content. It's for this. Pop it on Google. And sure is. This was the same dude that was literally in Evo last year.
Oh, that's so cool, man. And it's always cool when you get that kind of, when you get acknowledged like that. And you're just doing something that you really love and enjoy, and then, like, just all of a sudden, somebody just like, hey, yo, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let me shout you out.
It's just like, that was like literally one of the best programs I had. I just didn't think it was gonna get it.
Ow.
That was like probably the most viewed one that I've done. The other one that comes closest, probably the one I did with my team for PLS. And we hosted Tweety's program. Tweety is like a mega NRS player. Then he won an Injustice tournament, coming back to Injustice after being on a Mortal Kombat and Injustice break for a while. But all of us had put up a small share of money. We hosted like a $400-$500 tournament.
Oh wow!
Online, that was it was a top 16 invitational select invite. My gosh, the top 8 was crazy. And then Tweety just came in and won that shit. I put together that tweet. That was a very, very massively viewed tweet throughout a lot of NRS. There was a lot of OG goats in the NRS scene that liked that shit.
Oh, nice. So let's see, because you're talking about NRS. So have you come across Super? I think he goes by the name of Super, by chance.
I may not have. The ones I've encountered from that scene, I've encountered DTX, I've encountered Mountain Dew Joker, I've encountered Blue Jay here, Forever King.
Yeah, I've heard. Wait, you say Forever King?
Forever King.
Does Forever King play? Does Forever King play multiverses?
Yes, I believe he does.
Oh, I've played Forever King a few times on multiverses because I remember seeing that name quite a few times. Oh, okay. Huh. Small world.
Hey, you'd be surprised. Ironically enough, when that game first came out, there was a lot of NRS players that did go to multiverses from time to time.
I'm
trying to think on some other ones. There was Nostalgic Turtle. There's Dark Muffins. Tweety, like I said. I think off the top of my head. Let's see, the Fat Joe. Charizard.
These names, I swear.
Be surprised sometimes.
Yeah, some of them are clever, some of them are funny, then some of them are just blatantly offensive. To which we just kind of... Oh, yeah, how do you handle people that want to participate, but they have, like, grotesquely offensive names? Like, I'm not going to rattle off any examples, but you get what I mean.
I let them know that they need to change those names. That way they can play respectfully. Or if you are, censor the name on Smash because they're not gonna let it go through.
Right. Okay. Yeah, because
at the very least, breathe.
Yeah, because I know, because like we talked earlier, like you've got to deal with knuckleheads, and I'm pretty sure there's been a lot of knuckleheads you've had to deal with.
Yeah. At least now it's not as much.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to use the team that I like the most, or at least the characters that I like the most so far. Now, Oh, actually, I was talking about this before we got started. So, in terms of characters that I'm familiar with in this game, I've played Arcana Heart, quite a few of them. As a matter of fact, Ino was the only character I actually like to use. Obviously, I mentioned Senran Kagura, right? I've played BlazBlue, played Persona 4. My main person was Kanji. Never really played Inbirth. Though I've heard, I think if I'm not mistaken, back when there was talks of bringing Undernight back, like everybody was going just absolutely crazy. Were you part of that crowd?
That were crazy about when Undernight first came back at the beginning of the lockdown with that new game, the 2021.
I think so. Yeah.
I heard about it. Yes, I didn't get on board. I didn't get on board with it when it first came out. I was watching the gameplay of the old one when it first dropped.
Right. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. But yeah, and of course I watch Ruby. I haven't watched it lately, but I do watch Ruby. I know who all these characters are. My favorite is Weiss.
Gotcha. And honestly, is likely Yang.
You know, funnily enough, funny story. I used to not like Yang. Like in terms of like the main four, it was Weiss.
Was it her atmosphere?
Huh?
Was it like her atmosphere, the way she carried herself?
That was part of it. So what it was, early seasons Yang, I could care less. Post losing arm Yang is like one of my favorite characters.
Fair enough.
Yeah, like
that was like a confident aspect of her that was lost. That led to a character thing.
Yeah.
Her old design before she lost her arm was like, it's not that I'm better than you, but it's that I have confidence in myself. But it came off like I'm better than you.
Right.
I'm out of your league hotness type of thing.
Right.
To the later arc where it was just like recovering from something.
Yeah, because like once she had that happen to her, and then she had her time to freaking get herself together and whatnot, like she, in my opinion, she became a way better character as a result. And
Yes.
funny that little thing called character development will do.
It will. It does wonders for characters. Because hell, like I grew from hating Weiss from the beginning of the show to actually having respect for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like you actually stepped out of your family's shadow and really became your own woman, and even gradually stepped out of your sister's shadow.
Right. Jesus, man. Yeah, man.
Winter Schnee is a powerful woman.
Right. Well, most of the characters are pretty strong.
No, she's strong. Like she has a strong will. Like it took, because I could tell from her character design when they delved into Winter that it took a lot for her when she went into the military to also try and break away from the traditional family values, but still uphold the family name.
Oh god. Well, triggered on already?
You want some? You're done! You're ready for this?
Alright, let's throw again. I need to remember that.
You want some? You're done!
Let's see here.
Get back!
Come here, you.
Skewered! Get up,
We'll do it again.
skewered! Get up, I'll break you in half!
Haha! Oh, well, it wasn't the right one.
You're done! Get ready for that! Get over here! You little fuck! Get back in! It sucks!
Okay.
Damn it! That does it! Asshole! I ain't done! You ready? Take that! And that! Get up! I'm going!
Ooh, okay, let's see. Oh no. Range stuff, my worst enemy. Whee! Okay, got it. Oh gosh.
Nice.
DP. Okay, DP. Ooh!
Woohoo!
Who else was there?
Yan,
Didn't get a chance to meet him, but I talked to Scar and Kinetic.
Mhm.
Oof, yikes.
Those are the
You
ones
really
that I can
chose the
remember
wrong
from the
opponents.
scene outside
But I guess you did fine, all
Forever
things
King,
considered.
Tweety,
If you can work up the guts, we're always
Hmm.
ready for a rematch.
JTR.
We'll take you head on.
So you've met a whole bunch of folk and you've experienced a whole bunch of just awesome stuff, dude. Like, so all right, my final question. My final question to you, brother. With everything that you've done with Iacon and just tournament organization in general, what would you say is, well, two things. What would you say is the greatest takeaway from all of your experiences and things that you've done? And also, what is like one bit of advice that you would give to those who would probably want to toss their name in the hat for tournament organization?
The main takeaway that I have from being a tournament organizer is chance to have met all of the legends and the names and the faces that have made each scene so divine, and to meet person behind the legend if I'm able to meet some of those people from each scene that I'm able to visit, be it someone who's laid the groundwork for the game or someone who's just coming in the door or someone who's just leaving. It's a pleasure to have met to have met a lot of these people, because some of them I've seen about in passing from time to time. Never thought any more about it. Even before I became an entity in the FGC scene, I'd only just heard about these names in passing.
Right.
And then we've actually met some of these people. It blows my mind. Like, and like for fighters, for instance, like I had a chance to really meet Cloud. I met Dakiel, Sage, Ozzy, Nitro. And I go to Guilty Gear and it's just like, damn, I've met Hotashi. I got a chance to say hi to Yipes, even though like I had no engagement there to that. Several of my players are now some of the most acclaimed players in the online realm. And they started here. Or I go to Injustice, and then it's just like, damn, all the Injustice greats have literally became champions of mine. And I got a chance to meet all these names that have highlighted NLBCs for years. Just like, damn, it's a job that's a curse and a very beautiful blessing at the same time. To be able to house something that many people may take for granted and many more people honor as they're just passing through. It's like a notable service that you're doing for the community.
You sound like a proud papa.
Sometimes, yeah. There's a lot of people. There are a lot of players that honestly became something of themselves and even went on to make their first top 8s through my programs. Just like, damn, it's really nice. It's like this program, everything I've done here to some degree was needed. It seemed to be here for all the chain of events to have happened like they did. My best advice going forward, if anybody does want to follow their heart and be a TO in their own right, I say follow your heart for as long as the interest holds, or the fascination to expand your ideology, your creativity can bud. Or words or ideas in your imagination, you have the power to literally change something. Don't think just because that you're someone in the crowd that one person can't change anything. Because actually, you can. Fighting game community is one of those weird gaming communities where, weirdly enough, one person later on down the line can be somebody replacing somebody big, depending upon the chain of events, or can be a big name in their own right.
Would you say that would be, or rather, what would be? I know I said that was the last question, but now I have another one. So, what would your main rule of thumb for what you do? What would your rule of thumb be for your specialty?
My specialty, honestly, would probably be don't be afraid to take a risk.
Mm.
I know we're in a society now that just wants to become more and more safe driven.
Mm-hmm.
But don't be afraid to take a risk, even if it's not fully calculated. Without risk, there's no reward sometimes. Go out there all the time. I make it do what it do. I have a chance of something succeeding. I have a chance of something failing. Oh, my brand, at one point or another, could die at some point or another if I'm not careful, or if I bet on the wrong horse.
Mm-hmm.
Always a chance that what it is I have now that's influenced hundreds of people, it could fall. Don't be ashamed of taking a risk. Be ashamed of trying an idea and it failing. You reach success. Success truly comes from failure.
Mm.
Speak from experience, because there's a lot of things in my life I came up short on. Even in doing this job, there's a lot of times where I failed, and there's a lot of times where I've succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more times that I failed than I've succeeded, but weirdly enough, the audience and those that played through it all still counted as a W because they had fun. So even when you feel like you've lost, there is always still a chance that you win in the end. That's my 2 cents. Don't be afraid to take risks.
Yo, well said, brother. Well said. Really like that. Did you have fun?
Always.
Good.
Hell, sitting in gaming is always fun. Talking about a lot of the things and events that have happened in this game, and through a lot of, not even this game, just through the FGC scene, is just always fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
Everything after a while, most things begin to correlate.
Mm-hmm.
Names begin to cross-reference. They transcend from scene to scene. See, you eventually do get the chance to meet somebody that was a past entity on another platform somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Stay out there long enough, you get a chance to meet a lot of nice people.
Well,
You walk around enough, you meet a lot of walks of life.
well, RodimusPrime, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being this month's guest of McAgee3 Meetup. You have actually been a very wonderful guest, and I greatly appreciate you for coming through.
I appreciate you having me, and for the audience out there for McAgee, I appreciate.
Oh, by the way, it's McAgee. It's McAgee, by the way.
KG. Oh, my bad.
It's all good, brother. Continue.
Because when I look at your name, I keep thinking it's like Macintosh, but it's McAgee, and it's like, no, it's not even. But it's not even that. Oh, damn, I've been wrong the whole time.
It's all good, man. I've had guests on here where I tell them and they just use it as a nickname of endearment at this point. So, but but once again, dude, I appreciate you stopping through. You've been an awesome guest tonight, and I enjoyed the matches that we had. We might actually play this game more often for Saturday Sluggers, perhaps, because this game is actually a lot of fun. So.
It is. It's its own. It is its own little piece of online heaven for this video game.
Mm-hmm.
I can see, the more I've been playing this game, the more I can see how this game had a really enjoyable scene like it did.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I appreciate having me here. I look forward to definitely returning if I'm invited back this way, and we can go over some more stuff to delve into the past, or the present, or the future.
Awesome. I'm totally down for that. Okay, so before we close out, if Rodimus, if you can check the screen, are the social media things on there correct? and are there any missing?
Interest, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter. All of them are correct. I will keep it a buck. I don't really use Pinterest like that anymore, but all the thumbnails that I use for all my projects and my content, that's all on YouTube. I make the effort to pin them all over there so Pinterest people can see the art that I do for my thumbnail design.
Okay.
I guess you can also put the Instagram in there too.
Okay. We can.
That's
We can drop the Instagram on the in the chat here.
Yeah, those of you guys out there, if you ever do want to reach me or you come across this video, my mainstream areas is always Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and then Instagram.
Hold on, I got.
I'm not really an Instagram person, but I've been getting used to it from time to time. It's actually not bad. That you have to have a picture to attach in order to send out an idea, but that's okay. It's just the platform's preference.
Looks like is your IG Dion J? Is that what it is?
I believe so. It should be a picture of an Ultra Instinct Goku Black.
Yeah, that's him. All right. Yeah, I'll drop Rodimus's Instagram in the chat for those that you are interested to give him a follow. As he stated before, he does Iacon twice, 3 times a month, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like about 2 times, 3 times a month.
Yeah, and
it differs from game to game, but it will predominantly come back to the mainstay games, which is either going to be a Dragon Ball FighterZ or a Guilty Gear Strive or an Injustice.
Right, and he normally does them on Saturdays, but because he was here hanging out with us, he'll actually be doing a tournament tomorrow. What time will you be doing the tournament tomorrow, and what game is it?
Tomorrow is going to be number 39 for Dragon Ball FighterZ at 7 o'clock Eastern Time.
Okay, so if anybody out there is interested in trying their luck, what platform is FighterZ on?
This is for PlayStation 4, and we also incorporate PlayStation 5 people.
Okay, so yeah, if you got a PS4, PS5, and you're playing FighterZ, and you're feeling lucky, hit up the Iacon Battle Circuit tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time USA, and see what you can do, and also let Rodimus know that he's doing some good work out here.
I appreciate it.
Not a problem, brother. In the meantime. In the meantime, I stream every Tuesday, Friday, and Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time USA. Tuesdays is Art Tuesdays. Fridays, TGI McAgee3, we do adventure games or multiverses. Saturdays is Saturday Sluggers, where we do fighting games. If you like what you saw, give your man a follow. If you loved what you saw, give your man a sub. But either way, let folks know that McAgee3 is out here putting quality content for each and every one of you. Social media, find me on Twitter, Instagram, and DeviantArt at McAgee3. I also have a YouTube channel called McAgee3 Productions, where I do my off-stream grind, Casual Crashers, and McAgee3 Meetup series. Yes, this episode of McAgee3 Meetup will be found on the YouTube channel. So for those of you or your friends who weren't here to catch all the greatness that is Lord RodimusPrime, you can catch on the YouTube channel. So sweetness. So hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel to get up to date on that content as it comes around. I'm also an artist. I do emotes, sub badges, avatars, and banners. But currently, I am working on my original comic book, Blue Ninja, The Story of Navaya, which you can find on the DeviantArt page, deviantart.com/McAgee3. I finally got it right. Episodes 1 through 5 can be found for your reading pleasure on the DeviantArt page. And every Tuesday, I'm working on something Blue Ninja related, whether it's emotes, just artwork in general, or the script, or the comic book itself. So check it out. It's awesome. So, in terms of what's going on for the duration of the Thanksgiving week, because Thanksgiving is coming up, we're going to have our Tuesday. It might be a short one because your man McAgee3's 9 to 5 is being a butt, so there's that. Friday is going to be Black Friday. We'll do something. I'm not sure what. Probably multiverses. It's always assumed Friday is going to be multiverses, and then for Saturday Sluggers, who knows? Maybe we'll dabble in some more of this here Blaze Blue Cross tag. See if we can find anybody who can play online. I mean, either way, it's fine. We'll figure something out. But yep, that's gonna do it for tonight, you guys. Shout outs on the way out the door because you guys were killing it in the chat. We got Leifon, we've got RodimusPrime 1986. Thank you once again for being a guest. Blue J88. Scroll. Broshi89. And I believe that is everybody. Rodimus, thank you for the follow, my guy. You're loved and appreciated for that. Thank you. That is going to do it for tonight, you guys. I will see you all on Tuesday for another edition of our Tuesday. If I don't see you on Tuesday, I will see you on Friday for our Black Friday edition of TGI McAgee3. And if for whatever reason, I don't see you on Friday, I'll see you next week for another edition of Saturday Sluggers. So you all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend. Have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving week. And in regards to what's going on in the world right now, I will once again leave you all with this. It is always darkest before dawn. So you all have a wonderful, wonderful evening. And Rodimus, thanks again for being a guest. Bye.